जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह. First of all, I'd like to thank you for coming today. I'm sorry that we started late because of technical difficulties. But as you all know, 6:30 GMT, Emergency time. Today's talk is on our 10th Guru, Guru Gobind Singh. And to introduce our speaker, I'll just mention a few things. He's a lecturer in biology at Derby College. He's one of the directors of the Multi-Faith Centre in Derby. And he's Sikh advisor to the University of Derby, and he also played a pivotal role in securing the right of Sikhs to wear the turbans in the magistrate courts. So it's my honour and privilege to welcome Dr. Hardyal Singh, and I should like to invite him to take the stage and deliver his speech. Vaiguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaiguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Vaiguru Ji Ki Fateh. Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Or you want me to be loud? Is this in the right position?
Fine.
Okay. It's a great pleasure to speak to you once again. This is my third visit to the Leicester University. And many thanks for the Sikh Society, who must have found something interesting. Even if one of you could change your life, I would consider coming here successful. I'm a biologist by profession. Derby is my hometown, where I've been living since I was 13 years old. English is probably my fourth language, because I studied other languages in India. But Sikhi is something which I acquired when I was doing PhD at Loughborough. A lot of things in Sikhi interested me, but at that time I was clean shaven and everything. But when I got married, my wife was Amritdhari. And she never told me that. And I got influenced from her. So it works both ways. That's what I'm saying. There got to be a nucleus of something from which you start. And ever since that nucleus has now become a big tree that any other time other than biology I spend on Gurbani. Towards the end of the talk, I'll leave the last slide on which you can see some of the work that I have been doing. Without delay then, today's lecture is intended on Guru Gobind Singh Ji, the 10th Master, Sahib-e-Kamal, Guru Gobind Singh Ji. Very many people who speak on Sikhi, notice I've been very careful not to say Sikhism. I would ask you toward the end as to why we're calling ourselves Sikhism and not Sikhi. Try to claim that the first 5 Gurus were very peaceful, and from then the things started changing. Sikhi became militancy. The 6th Guru wore 2 swords, Miri and Piri, temporal and spiritual powers. And when they go up to the 10th Master, they say, well, everything is military now, and there is no spirituality. The first thing to understand is that all 10 were one spirit. The spirit of Akal Purkh pervaded Guru Nanak, and then it pervaded all 10. And it is for this reason, in our ardas, in our prayer, we say, Dasan Paatshaahiyan di Jyot, Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji de Paath Dadar da Dhyan Karke. Bolo ji Vaheguru. So, Ardas says this, but have we got any authority for this? There comes the authority from Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Page 966. Satta and Balwanda were the two bards of the Guru Granth, whose writings are included in Guru Granth Sahib Ji. They speak of, in this sentence, Jyot Oha, Jukt Sai, Sai Kaya, Phir Partiye, about when Guru Nanak passed on his Guruship to Bhai Lehna Ji and he became Guru Angad. And it is interesting to say that these enlightened people who lived with the Guru, how they perceived them. So Guru Granth says, Jyot Oha, it is the same light. Jukt Sai, it is the same method of performance, meaning Guru Angad was behaving exactly the same way as Guru Nanak did. Sai Kaya, Phir Partiye. What is it that changed them? They said the master had only changed his body. There is the authority. And then they keep on accounting for all 10. The first 5 gurus whose body is included. Obviously, at that time, the 9th master's body was not included in the Bodhisattva. So this is the first thing we need to understand, that all 10 are one and the same. The Guru of Guru Nanak was the Shabd itself, where Guru Nanak Dev Ji say, when he was questioned by the yogis, who is your Guru? And he said, Shabd Guru Surtatam Chela. The word is my master, and my contemplation upon is the disciple. So it's no good having a body sitting here if the mind is not listening. It is paramount in Sikhi that listening is the most important tool that you should have when you're sitting in the Gurdwara or when you're listening to anybody. For without that, you're only perceiving things by eyes. They may look beautiful, they may look ugly. For you're only perceiving things with your ears. They may be meaningful, they may be utterly meaningless, unless the mind is connected to that. This paragraph comes from Guru Nanak. I'm trying to dispel some of the myths which people say the first Guru, first 5 were cool. They never talked about any militancy. Why then, from the 6th Guru onward, the whole thing changed? Here is the root from which the Guru Nanak wanted this tree to flourish one day. Here is the foundation of Miri Piri, which Guru Nanak laid, and then subsequent Guru only evolved it as the time came. Guru Nanak says to all of us, Jau to prem khelan ka chao, sir dar tali gali meri aao. Those who are fond of true love, let them covenant to accept martyrdom. It marg pair trije. Whosoever treads this path, sir dije, kaan na kije. Must be ready to sacrifice everything for the faith. And you know, at least some of you would know what happened at the Vaisakhi of 1699. Sir dije, kaan na kije. Guru is interested in your mind and in your body. It's your mind which is more important to be changed. And here is the authority from which then this whole thing started and it was to be based. On one side, at the time of Guru Nanak, there was opposition from the hitherto culture, largely Brahmin culture, which believed in castes and classes. The higher you were in the caste, the more protected you were. And here was Guru Nanak trying to preach equality of humankind. Naturally, the opposition came. The people of higher caste never ate with the lower caste people. And you know, with Guru Nanak, with the 20 rupees, started the langar. This became a big thing at the time of Guru Amar Das Ji, the 3rd master, who made it compulsory that if you want to see me, then you first have a langar and then come and see me. Pehle pangat, fir sangat. And that was difficult to swallow for the higher castes. You people, when you go to Gurdwara, you nowadays go ritually, take your thali and you eat. Or you think it's a place where unemployed people fill their belly. But there was a meaning, deep meaning behind that. The higher caste people will never sit with the lower caste. Even when they did start doing that, they would bring their own vessel. They will not put the same vessel back where everybody, the lower caste people, ate. So langar represents a lot for us. This opposition from them, plus the opposition of Jauto Prem Khelan Ka Jao Sirdar Tali Gali Meri Yao, is clear that it was a challenge to the Mughals, to the imperial powers at the time as well, who was in minority and committing atrocities on the larger population of the Hindus. This culminated with Guru Arjan Dev Ji as being martyred. Lots of reasons, but chief reasons were as I described. And then for 3-4 Gaddis, everything seems to be okay until came the 9th master, who was beheaded in Delhi on the 11th of November 1675, not for Sikhi, but for the intolerance which the Mughals were showing to the Hindu at large. The evidence comes from the writings of the 10th master, where he describes Tilk Janju Rakha Prabhataka, that the sacrifice of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji was to save the Hindu religion. We need to think broadly that why on earth 9th master would give his life to save the very sacred thread which Guru Nanak had rejected. The only one answer comes, and that is Sikhi believes in live and let live rather than live and let die. If it was the Mughals at that time, if it was the Muslims at that time who were under attack, the Guru would have done the same thing. You will see subsequent quotation which I take from Gurbani, how Gurbani treats everybody equal. Not only by words, but by deeds as well. And 9th Nanak written this before his sacrifice, well before his sacrifice. These lines, Pay kahun ko detna na paiman. Those who neither scare nor fear any, Kah Nanak sun re mana muktata hai tai jaan. Say, O Nanak, they are truly enlightened. Look closely and you will find the saint and soldier in these lines. Pay kahun ko detna. Those who scare somebody unnecessarily, emphasis is on unnecessarily, surely are tyrants. Na paimant an, those who bear this and do nothing about it are slaves. There is the foundation of saintliness on one side and resisting at all cost, even with your life, to preserve the righteousness, is the spyhood, is the soldierness in Sikhi. So the same thing seems to be reflected here in the 9th master as well. It was this psychology in mind when the saint soldier concept that Guru Gobind Singh Ji modified. By modifying the Amrit ceremony, which hitherto was different, and of course at the 10th master it became Panj Pyare, far more important than anything. He instructed his Sikh not anything totally different. He kept the Gurbani as the central theme. And here it is, Eka Bani, Ik Gur, Iko Shabd Vichar. Page 646, Malatija, the 3rd Padsha. That treat Bani as the supreme Guru. Contemplate on the word only. Now doesn't that go in line with what the first master had said. Word is my guru. Contemplation. You can't change somebody physically, but you can change their mind. Once they change their mind, they have changed completely. What he made important with that, at the same time, I did say to you, it took time to develop. Human body, human thoughts evolved. And what became now compulsory was to identify yourself. Who are you? To be a Sikh then, the 5K became important. It's coincident that every one of these begins with Kakka in Punjabi. And they were the articles of faith. Kes, Kanga, Kishara, Kada and Kirpan. Don't ever call them symbols. They are not symbols. Symbols are to show somebody, to identify. I don't keep my hair so that somebody can identify me. They are part of my living body. They grow, they respire, they excrete. Why are they not part of my living body? Other parts of my body are also doing the same. So as far as Sikh are concerned, the case is a living part of their body. Kanga comes naturally. Cleanliness. Saint must be clean, so should soldier be. And that's why we keep Kanga in our hair all the time. Kishara became the central theme which united the saint with the soldier. Sign of modesty. And at the same time, it was much more flexible to be used in battle. The Indians hitherto wore dhoti, which was the loin cloth, which fitted nicely with the heat of the country, but it was no good when it came to a battlefield. So Kishara became compulsory, both for the male and for the female. Kada and Kirpan, they are the defensive weapons. Don't quote ever Kirpan or Talwar. Talwar is only used attacking. The terminology is different. Talwar, meaning to attack somebody over the head. Kirpan comes from two words, kirpa and an. By his grace, save the honor. So it's in defense. Kada became significant in the sense of nuns' superstitiousness. There's a little story related to that. When one of the Brahmin turned up at Anandpur and asked the Guru for the usual annually ritual which the Brahmins performed. They normally collected the mung beans and of course the oil and some metal, and Guru gave them kadahi and everything. And he also knew that it was wrong according to him, but he watched his Sikh. What would they do? Would they challenge me? And the Sikh indeed was much more woken that time than they are today. They did challenge the Pandit, they did challenge the Brahmin, and actually took everything from him and took it back to the Guru and said, you told us not to do all these things. Why are you doing it then? Why are you giving him all these things which you told us not to do? The Guru said, I was checking whether you would respond. So what are we going to do with all this? He said, well, you got the oil, you got the kadahi, and you got the mung beans. Bring some flour and make some pakode and let's share it. And that's what they did. That's how non-superstitious they were. Fearless. So it became a symbol in that respect. But it is really a defensive weapon. When you drop your sword in the battlefield, it can protect you from the rest. The front arms of the Sikh soldier used to be full of these kadas, these armors. You might have seen very big ones being worn by people in India. Of course, with time, everything looks just as simple. Hitherto then, what we're building up here is the image of the Sikh. Ik Bani, Ik Bana. Bani is obvious, Guru Granth Sahib. Believe no other but the revealed word. Ik Bana, the Guru has given now. The 5 prakars are the minimum uniform that Sikh must have. Any other article he can wear depending on the weather conditions. But Guru also wanted to discipline his Sikhs much more. And these are some of the quotations that I have taken. Guru said, discipline is more important to me than the Sikh. Rahat pyari mujhko, Sikh pyara nahi. Can you imagine a Sikh who doesn't obey Guru? Can you imagine a soldier who doesn't obey the command of the commanding chief? He would be court-martialed, if not shot. This is how important it was to be in discipline. And Guru said something more than that. One who maintains integrity in its entirety shall be my Sikh. He or she shall be my master, and I the disciple. Rani vehe soi Sikh mera, O Sahib, main uska chera. Notice the equality in that. Master becoming disciple, disciple becoming master. In Sikhi, it is not sheep will always remain sheep, and shepherd will always remain shepherd. Shepherd will become sheep, and sheep will become shepherd. But this is the salvation we look for. While we are alive, not after death. There's no guarantee that we're going to be in heaven. Heaven is here and now when you recite the Lord. But Guru also warned some of the things which were to come. And I think we are seeing some of these in today's world. So long as Khalsa maintains its integrity in its entirety, I promise to provide full protection. When it began to follow the Brahmanical rituals again, I shall no longer provide the care. And this was important indeed, because I think today, in today's world, we have started doing that. Jab ye gahe vipran ki reet, main na karu inki prati. So if we want the blessing from the Guru, then we got to turn our face, our mind and body to the Guru, not just by words, but by deeds as well. It was with this notion that the 10th Nanak unequivocally injunction at the time of transferring the Guruship to the Adi Granth, that the message is in the Shakti itself. Parcha Shabda. Image is in the Khalsa, the enlightened individuals, Didar Khalsa, and seek protection of the Akal, the timeless Lord only, quote Akal. Principal Satvir Singh Ji writes in the Our History, Part 1, page 55. Of course, a lot of rituals in the current society at that time were also going on. And Guru makes these things very clear in Swaye, which we recite every day in the Nitnem, in the daily prayers. And here are some of them mentioned. I only taken 2 Swayes in here to illustrate the point. Kahan payo jado lochin mund ke baith reho bakt ka dhyan lagayo. One who feigns meditation by closing both eyes like that of the crane would be of no avail. This is not to say that when you pray, you shouldn't close your eyes. But notice, it's the fakeness which Guru doesn't like. Nahat priyo liye saat smundran, lok gayo par lok gavayo. Perform the pilgrimage, bathing in all the 7 seas, thereby lost both this world and the next, without remembering Lord. Which is not to say that you shouldn't take bath. But if you think simply by taking bath in 7 seas you're going to become purified, then this is what the Guru is saying that you mustn't do. Bas kiyo bikhyan so baith ke aise hi aise so baise batayo. Equally one who spent life in vices. What are vices? Kam, krodh, lobh, moh, hankar. Lust, anger, greed, attachment and ego. Acts of futility other than training, meditation and pilgrimage bathing too have lived all in vain. So what should one do? And here is the advice in a single sentence. Sach kahon, sun liyo sabay, jin prem kiyo, tin hi prabhayo. O beings, listen attentively. The truth is that neither feigning meditation like a crane, or by pilgrimage, bathing, one finds God, nor by living in vain, being indulged in vices, is the life objective. Only those have found Lord who have loved the Creator and the creation. And that's where the emphasis is. You mustn't fake anything, for He is watching you. For us, the Lord does not live in heaven. He is here and now, and the heaven is within you. And it is ever present. And that's how Sikh got to live this life. Panjve Paatshah mentions the importance of this life. Bhai Praput Manukh De Guriya, Gobind Milan Kiye Teri Guriya. This is the only time out of the total evolution that you have conscious mind that you should spend this time to be one with the Lord. This is not to say that other things you shouldn't do, but they are valueless. They will be finished once your physicalness is finished. The only thing which goes with you is the now. And here is other things that Guru mentioned that the Sikh must not do. Kahu ne pahan puj taryo sir, kahu ne ling kare latkayo. Some bow to this statue and carry it on their head. Some wear shivling, Shivji's penis, worshipped as a symbol of procreation around their neck for the same. You know, I get really surprised when I see statues of Guru Nanak and Guru Gobind Singh Ji in some Sikh's house. And they pray like this in the morning. Look what the Guru is saying. Look what we are actually doing. Kahun lakhyo har vachi dusame, kahun pashako sis navayo. Some bow to the southerly direction towards Mathura, the birthplace of Krishna, and some towards west, towards Kaaba, where Makkah is. Ko Bhutan ko pujat hai, pas ko Martan ko pujan thayo. Some ignorant worship statues and others worship the dead ones, cemeteries, ancestral worship. Did Guru find this interesting? Sums up in the last sentence. Kur kriya urgyo sab hi jab Sri Bhagavan ko per na payo. Consequently, the whole world is engrossed in falsehood and none have discovered the secret of the Lord. Once again we see the Guru is not interested in rituals. Here came a time now that the Khalsa is almost complete. What should Khalsa be armed with? And the emphasis was given from the Miri Piri angle, and this is taken from the letter which he wrote to the emperor of the time, Aurangzeb, in Zafarnama. Kyunkar as hama hilte dar gujasht. When all modes of addressing a tyrant fail, halal as burdan bashan shirdas. It is pious and just to raise the sword. So the sword does not come out to attack anybody, only as a last resort, when all means have failed to address the wrong way. It is to protect you and the others, the weaker ones, to protect you and your chattels, and for no other reasons. What is you got to treat the others as? Again, this is taken from the Gurbani. Na ko beri nahi begana, sagal sang hamko baniyai. Gurbani tells us, fifth master tells us on page 1299, I see no one as an enemy, nor a stranger, I'm a fond of home. And in the line before that, he says, Bisar gai sab tat parai, jab te saad sangat moy pai. Ever since I have come into the company of the enlightened, I am no longer envy of anybody. And that's when he says, Nako beri nahi begana. The Sikh got to treat prima facie everybody equal. The only enemy he got in the world is Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Ankar. And he fights with them every day in his mind. No physical being is Sikh's enemy. And the 10th master added his stamp by saying, Manas ki jaat sabhai ek hai pehchan. Look around, other prophets in the world, who has given equality to humanity. Look around, read them, make up your own mind. And this is what the 10th master said. Recognize all human race as one. You know what? Even if we're living in 21st century, we're still far short of this equality. It will take a long, long time from me to reach that far. Here is what he sums up now as the image of a Khalsa. Jagat jyot chapanis vasar ek bina man nek nayane. One who meditates on the ever-present Lord day and night and puts no faith in any except one Lord. Puran prema pratit sajay Bhat gor mari mat phul na mane. remains absorbed in his splendor and true love, and not even by error believes in fasts, tombs, graves, or cloisters of idolatry. तीर्थ दान दया तप संयम एक बिना एक पशानै. Now goes on pilgrimage or performs penances of the yogis or asceticism of the sannyasis, recognizes no one except one Lord. पूरन ज्योत जगै काट में तब खालस ताहे न खालस जानै, is a true paragon, a complete human, in whose heart ever shines the perfect light of the God, to be Khalsa. Very broad definition. Did anybody live up to these principles? Yes. Yes, they did. Na ko beri nahi bigana. You must have heard the story at the time of the 10th Master, when a Sikh used to give water both to the Mughal soldiers as well as to the Sikh. And one day, the Sikh saw him doing this, came to the 10th Master and said, "This is not right. Every time we get them down, every time he gives them water, this is not fair, they are enemy." And he was called in the presence by the 10th Master. "Explain yourself." He said, "Master, this is true. I do that. But I do not give water to the enemy. I only see your face in every human." And the Master was so pleased, he patted him on the back and said, "Next time you go into the battlefield, take some ointment with you as well and put that on there when they are injured." This is the living with Nako Beri Nahi Bigana. This Guru had very high ideals and principles. When he writes Zafarnama, a letter of victory, to Aurangzeb, the Mughal emperor, he mentions in this letter, "Ki haan shud ke jo bachga kushast kyar," what if my 4 sons have been killed? "Ke baki vimandast pechiga mar." There remains the formidable Khalsa. The Guru is treating Khalsa as his children. He was being taunted, "Your 4 children have been killed." He said, "It doesn't matter. You know, if we have a child today, and even if he got a little bit fever, and if that fever doesn't come down within 2 hours, we'd like to bring doctor's surgery upside down, or at least complain about him." Here is after 4 having been lost to the righteous cause, that the Guru seems to be unconcerned, because Khalsa, the purest, the well-behaved, disciplined soldier is there, that who will carry this beacon of light to the generations ahead. He says to him, "Shahanshah, Aurangzeb Alami, O Aurangzeb, even though your name implies that you are the emperor of the world, and you are contemporary ruler, Kidarai Dor Ast Dur Shakti, but you are far removed from the truthful path." This letter is very long, I only take a few words from it. Time and again, Guru refers to the oath which is believed to have been taken by Aurangzeb to say to the Guru, "If you come out from the Anandpur Sahib fort, you have my promise, you have my oath on the Quran that you will not be attacked. Your soldiers, your Sikh would be protected if anything. You will be given a safe haven." But as they came out, the imperial army attacked them. 10 lakh are mentioned, which is equivalent to 1 million. And Guru is referring to this time and again in his letter. "Che kasme Quran man kunam etovar." What would I make of thy oath on Quran? "Vagarna kugoi man e reh kicha ki reh chikar." Tell me, why should I trust you? Na Imam Prasti, na Awzai Deen, Aurangzeb, you are neither committed to religion nor justice. Na Sahib Sanashi, na Muhammad Yaqeen. You neither know Lord nor trust in Muhammad. It is wrong when some writers present that Gurus were against Islam. Gurus were not against Islam. The writings of Baba Farid Ji, who was himself a Muslim, included in Guru Granth Sahib Ji. It was under this belief that Guru lay down and asked his Sikhs to do the same. His life, the beacon of light, was not just for the people of Punjab, but for all the people of the world at all times. According to Professor Saaf Singh Ji, in the battlefield at the world front, this history is the history of life, where downtrodden fought bravely with the higher castes and the ruling class over 200 years. In this struggle from Guru Nanak to Guru Gobind Singh, the 10th Guru, the 10 Gurus gave shelter to the poor, and they endured all atrocities upon themselves, but honoured the oath at all cost. Look back to the thousands of Sikhs which gave life for this. Look back to the 5th Master. Look back to the 9th Master. Look back his Sikh who were also massacred in Delhi, in Sisganj, Gurdwara, Bhai Sati Das, Bhai Mati Das, Bhai Dayala Ji. And look back the 4 children of the 10th Master. His father, his mother, and his dearest Sikh all went down in the same way. Where was this oath taken? It's the oath taken to the ever-present Lord. Not on Quran, not on Guru Granth Sahib, not on anything, but feeling that the Lord is present here and now and watching to each and every one of you that the deeds you do. So he concludes by saying, how far sighted was Guru Nanak Dev Ji, who uttered right at the beginning, "Jau to prem khedan ka jao, sirdar tali gali meri aao." Here was the culmination, the final battlefield in which this was becoming truth. Truly, the Guru was the greatest devotee of Akal Purkh. No difference from Guru Nanak, who laid down his family's and his Sikhs' lives for the noble cause, the emancipation of humanity. The greatest benefactor of Amrit, Amrit Data we call him, Guru Granth Sahib Ji, to free us from superstitions, to partake in one Amrit and unite with one Guru. And greatest soldier, who having fought and won 14 battles in his lifetime, never claimed the land or took anything from anybody. Instead he says, "Inhi ki kirpa ki saje pan hai, nahi mose gareeb crore pane." It is through Khalsa's perseverance that I have had all the honours. There are millions poor like me in the world. When he lost all his family, he again says to Akal Purkh, "Mitra pyare nu hal muridan da kehna." O beloved friend, listen to the plight of thy servant. Tud bin rog rajaiyan da odan naag nivasan de rehna. Without you, O Lord, the luxury of soft beds and the luxury of dwellings in palaces have been anguish and discomfort, like living amongst snakes. Sool surahi khanjar pyala bang veng kasaiyan da sena. Now the thorns that curse my feet are my flask, and the pursuing dagger of the enemy is my cup, O Lord. Even then, he was not bothered, and this is what he said to the Akal Purkh, "Jarade da sanu sathar changa pat khediya da rehna." But living with the beloved in a straw hut is preferred to the luxury dwelling of a hell without. For such was the truthful life of Guru Gobind Singh. What do other people think of him? And many historians have expressed their thoughts. Cunningham writes, "A living spirit possesses the whole Sikh people, and the impress of Guru Gobind Singh altered the constitution of their minds." It's not surprising that a single Sikh goes around and says, "I am a Savalak." It is the spirit of the Guru which speaks in the Sikh, no matter in which part of the world he lives. Like Guru Nanak, Guru Gobind Singh attached the utmost importance to purity of life, there was no higher duty for a Sikh than to die fighting in defense of his faith, says Hines. It is interesting that one day our forefathers gave our skulls but not our hair, and today we like to go to the barber shop and even pay him to do that. Gokul Chand Narang writes Transformation of Sikhism. Men who had never touched a sword or shouldered a gun became heroes. Confectioners, washermen and barbers became leaders of armies before whom the Raja squared and the Nawab cowered with terror. He was an apostle of human unity and universal brotherhood. He loved all, rich and poor, Hindus and Muslims, princes and paupers, learned men of all creeds who feared Aurangzeb found asylum in his sanctuary. What better example than Bhai Nand Lal Ji, who is a well-known scholar in Sikhi. That once there was in the court of Aurangzeb loved the Quran, and he always looked for a best scholar who could translate this and explain him. There was one couplet which nobody could explain him, not even the Qazis. And Bhai Nandlal was employed because he knew Farsi. And he explained this so thoroughly that Aurangzeb became very content with that. He issued warning next day, bring him into the fold of Islam. Why is he so far still remains as a kafir? And his son, to whom he used to teach Farsi, passed this on to Bhai Nandlal Ji, that you must go, otherwise they are going to convert you tomorrow by force. And he fled to overnight to Anandpur Sahib. And that's where he remained for the rest of his life. No wonder he called Shahenshah Guru Gobind Singh. Muhammad al-Latif writes, historians agree in eulogizing the great merits of Guru Gobind Singh. In him were united the qualities of religious leader and warrior. He was a lawgiver to the pulpit, a champion in the field, a king on Masan, and fakir in the society of Khalsa. He was a right man for the needs of the time. Total age 41 years, 9 months, 15 days, out of which he spent 32 years, 10 months and 26 days as a guru. He was 4 years old when his father saw him first time. He was about 6.5 years old when he came to Anandpur Sahib from Patna. His father must have remained for about 2 years with him, for he was 8.5 years old when Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji actually came to Delhi in 1675. Bear in mind he was born in 1666, so less than 9 years age when he gave his consent. When the Kashmiri Pandit asked him, what do you think? Who should sacrifice for their sake? And he said without hesitation to his father, you must save them. You must go to Delhi and resist this tyranny. To me, so much achieved in so little time. Only Guru Gobind Singh could have done this. Truly, one and only Sahib-e-Kamal, Guru Gobind Singh. Last night, you must have celebrated with the others the important day in the English calendar, the Valentine Day. Just remember those who laid down life for us. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Sahib-e-Kamal, Guru Gobind Singh. Thank you for listening. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
You didn't call Sikhism, you called it Sikhi. Why did you only call it Sikhi and not Sikhism?
Thank you for reminding me. I was hoping that some of you would be by now telling me. Is there anyone sitting in the audience who would like to answer this for me? Why should we not call Sikhism but Sikhi? challenge you all.
Is it possibly because Sikhism perhaps means dogmatic like a religion, but Sikhi is the way of life? So when you say Sikhi, it means you encompassing everything under the will of God, everything from start to finish under the will of God. But when you say Sikhism, it's just like everything else. You're trying to box it into a category, but no, this is not Sikhism. Sikhi is the way of life, like a flowing.
Anybody else? Well, when you go tomorrow morning, have a look in a dictionary what the word ism means. It's the suffix, isn't it, at the end. Hinduism, Sikhism. There are very few which are not. Ism are just philosophy, they are ideas, they are thoughts, they are not revelation. Just like when people say Christianity is a religion, but what is your faith? Faith is taken somewhat less than a religion. I think when the British actually went into India, they saw only the true religion as Christianity, and they saw all other as isms, that they were somewhat some ideas towards God, but not necessarily revelations, not necessarily true. So the Hindus became known as Hinduism and Sikhi. That's what we still call Sikhi in the Gurdwara. Nobody calls it Sikhism. But somehow our mentality has moved so much that we just taken the word, just like to the Kada we like calling it a Sikh bangle. How many of you call this bangle? You ever taken the meaning of the bangle in dictionary? What the bangle stands for? Is worn for beauty, mostly. This is not worn for beauty. So we need to actually look at these things from much more scrutiny. That writer after writer, copycat behavior, that we have just started eroding our own religion. Sikhi, not Sikhism. It's not ism. Every single word in Guru Granth Sahib is a revealed word. But that's what the Guru says. I don't speak from my own mind. I speak what he guides me to. That's what Guru Nanak said. And that's what every single master, including the Bhagats Bani, whose Bani is included in the Guru Granth, say the same thing. Thank you.
So any other questions?
I have a question.
Sure.
Why is it that 9 of the Gurus wrote in the Guru Granth Sahib, but Guru Gobind Singh wrote the Adi Granth? He didn't write in the actual Guru Granth.
Why the 9th Guru didn't write?
No, the 10th Guru, his writings was in a separate book. His writings were not in the Guru
Sure.
Granth. So what was the reason for that?
Only the Guru knows. It's difficult to answer that one. There is a lot of humility represented in that. As you've seen that in my eyes, he was greatest in terms of poetry. He knew at least 6-7 languages, not only Punjabi, not only Hindi, not only Farsi, but all other languages that he uses. And it's very, very difficult, in fact, to read some of his writings, especially Japsab when you're doing it in the morning. I still have to open the Gurkha when I'm doing it, even though I know it by heart, but mind doesn't stay still. I think there are a number of reasons that scholars have advanced, and one of them given is that perhaps the volume of Guru Granth Sahib was getting too big. Then again, somebody like you could say, well, at least he could have included one stanza. That's not too much. 1,430 pages. What if they became 1,431 pages? It was not going to make much difference. I think only Guru knows why he did not include. Similar question can be asked. Sometimes people say, the first 9 Gurus, they are known as Mahla Pehla, Mahla Duja, and Mahla Noma. And why is the 10th Master is only using himself as Padshahi Dasmi? They are very difficult to answer these things. Although they mean the same thing. In his writing, he has never really used the stump of Nanak, for example, but Padshahi Dasmi mostly. The other thing is that most of the work which was done by Guru Gobind Singh Ji and 52 other poets that he used to keep in his court. Most of that work was drowned in the river Sarsa when Anandpur Sahib departure took place, and a huge amount was lost in there. So we don't know what we got now in the form of the Dasam Granth is not necessarily all the work of the Guru. There are other poets' works included in that. And what is included in that is mostly by some of the versions which Bhai Mani Singh Ji could find, because it was reconstituted after that event by Bhai Mani Singh Ji. So we haven't got the original writing of the 10th Master at all.
Are there any other questions?
They say there's, and with Dasam Granth, they say there's 3 versions of Dasam Granth. One Papa Deep Singh, one by Mani Singh, I don't know who the third is, but which one do people like, which one's the one that we're meant to like read? Because there are meant to be very little differences in them, but they have differences still. So we can't, don't use both, do we? Only use one. So which one?
Thank you. At the moment, there is a lot of controversy over the Dasam Granth, and actually it's forbidden from Akal Takht to talk about it openly, because scholars seems to certainly become monsters when they start defending their viewpoints. Whichever version it exists, I myself have no knowledge of it. I have very little knowledge of Dasam Granth, apart from those extracts which you've seen, which one recognizes of Guru Gobind Singh Ji. There's a lot of controversy at the moment of some of the sections of it. But most important thing I think for us is this, that all scholars agree that Guru Granth Sahib Ji is the most important item for us. And this is our Guru, not Dasam Granth. Dasam Granth has a lot of other narratives in it as well, which are taken from the Hindu mythology as well, as the Guru was giving new dimensions to his soldiers. And remember, Sikh were not in that respect any different, even though their understanding of one God and oneness of humanity seems to be very different from everybody. But Guru Granth Sahib Ji is full of stories from the Hindu mythologies as well. They are not for us to believe, but they are us to give as a reference to say, remember, when this happened, that happened, Lord saved him. If you imagine that whom was the Gurus addressing all this, it was largely the Hindu population at large. So it was a bit silly to invent things which didn't exist. They used those as an icons, as an example, to which they, even though mythology, that the peoples were familiar with. So I think it is from that respect, from literature angle, read Dasam Granth by all means, but it is not the spiritual Guru of the Sikh. The spiritual Guru remains Guru Granth Sahib Ji. I think some wrong steps have been taken by some so-called sants and their deras, where they're doing the Prakash both of Guru Granth Sahib and Dasam Granth. To a Sikh, there is no equivalent to Guru Granth Sahib.
Is there any other questions? Could you have one question actually? What can we do as students, what could we do practically to sort of understand the message of Guruji? Is there any websites or anything that we should be reading?
I should have done that. I left it to the last. This is only a glimpse. Like you, I'm not a preacher. I'm a family man. I've mostly been educated in the West. All my education is from here. I came from the 7th class in India. So my Punjabi is whatever I managed to maintain. But you must dig deeper than English. Try to understand in English. There are some very good books, some very nice websites as well. I myself have written some articles, as you can see, being a scientist. Naturally, science and Sikhi interested me most. That is my reflection, my own reflection as I went through the science, how Guru Granth tried to explain us all the big bangs and things, in the words of Arvad Narvad Tundukara and so on. And it was probably these words which really made me to turn towards Sikhi. I used to have a lawyer friend like you who used to say, you must not pull anything down if you haven't got anything to replace it with. And I think that's what entered my mind at that time, when at Loughborough, about 7 o'clock in the evening, and I was the only one left doing my experiments, and I was researching at that time. The whole laboratory was empty. 3, 4 o'clock, the undergraduate went home. And I was looking at this. I didn't know much about it at that time, but I knew a couple of bodies, and one of them, the stanza was Hukme andar sabko, bahar hukm na koi. And sometime in my life I had faced very, very difficult times, and I could not understand how could all this happen within Hukum. There is nothing but nothing, everything within Hukum. And these were the things which led me towards research. And I found the Sikh Bulletin, which is published from America, is both in English and Punjabi. It's quite a good one, quite a controversial one as well. And that doesn't mean that you shouldn't read controversial things because you're a university student. You must make up your own mind. You must expose yourself to all sorts of things. Every alternative weeks I do Japji Sahib's interpretation, grammar on Punjab radio. For the past 3-4 weeks I had taken a leave because there was a fear that Ofsted inspectors were coming in college. So I needed some time to prepare myself for that. You can't divorce from that because that earns me some money as well, so that I can come and give you these lectures free of charge. So there are other sites as well which are available. Mr. Sidhu, G.S. Sidhu, Gurvachan Singh Sidhu, who lives in Nottingham, has written a lot of books. He's much older than me. He's 85 now. I'm only 53 yet, so I've got a little bit more time to go. We are very fortunate that I have actually met him. He used to live in London, and he was one of the pioneers behind the Sikh Missionary Society. For you people, he has written books like Sikhism and Christianity, Sikhism and Islam. They're all in English, with full of references. He also written the position of the women in Sikhism, and currently one he's writing is on the some concept of Sikhi, which I'm reviewing it at the moment. So it's only on my internet site. But he's a very lovable person, does not like making money for anything. He got a charity in India where he helps people to have eyes and if they've broken their legs or something. All the money which people donate him on that scholarly work, he uses that every year, goes for helping people. So I can get in touch with you and give you his address and so on. You can have his email address and write him directly. For those books are written for people like you. They are written in English. He's very good at translating. I don't often approve people translating Gurbani because Gurbani is very difficult to translate. And a lot of people do not use grammar. Or should I say, don't know grammar of Punjabi, especially 500 years ago. And therefore make mistakes in singularity and plurality when they are translating things. I follow mostly Professor Saab Singh's work, which he did way back in around about 1975, thereabout, even before. And his work has not been superseded. He spent something like 11 years writing the grammar of Guru Granth Sahib Ji. And my dream is one day to be able to translate all his work, especially of Guru Granth Sahib, into English. I already have done a lot of work on it, but because I'm working at the same time, I don't find enough time. But when I do, that's where I find relaxation. Outside my biology lessons, that's where my relaxation is. Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, well, I'd like to thank Dr. Hardayal Singh for coming here today and answering the questions, and I hope everybody has learned something. Just a couple of announcements.